Hello, ladies and gentlemen, internet land. Time for another walk. Yes, it is in the evening, Sunday night. Traditionally very low traffic, as you see. Plus it's Father's Day. I think a lot of people had a full day today. It is June 16th, 2024. My father passed away in 2012. Kind of cool tonight. It's actually quite cool tonight. .61 degrees right now. I mowed the property earlier. It was beautiful, 71 degrees, perfect weather for that. And I did that because we are going to have near record or possibly record temperatures starting Tuesday, day after tomorrow. So it's hard to believe that a day as cool and crisp and sunny as today is going to devolve into record temps or near record temperatures this week. So, like I said, today was a high of 71, and nice, clean, clear, fresh air. Beautiful day. Absolutely perfect. So it's very nice. Now tonight I'm just going to do a 5-mile walk because I did mow the property earlier. Did have a pretty good sweat going doing that, despite the temperatures being nice. So something kind of funny happened while I was, before I mowed the lawn. So I was like, well, I was gonna put the side chute on the lawnmower, and well, wasn't really, the grass really wasn't tall enough to really cause a problem with clogging the mower. But I was like, well, you know, because I like to mulch. And I was like, well, I'll put the side chute on there, and if you're familiar with that, usually use a side chute unplugger, which is basically just a stick. And I like to use a branch from the tree, and when it starts getting plugged up, I'll stick the branch in there and unplug it. So anyway, I picked out a branch out back, and I was holding my reading glasses while I was doing that, and when I snapped the branch, the reading glasses went flying somewhere. As we're looking at price of gas is still $3.41 9/10. Now the media has been running advertising. Well, propaganda, not advertising. propaganda for Joe Biden, talking about how, and this is literally what the article said, gas prices are falling. Why are they falling? Well, they're not falling. It's still $3.41. It's been that for a couple, 3 weeks now, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And gas prices going down 3 or 4 cents to $3.41 when they were $2 when Biden was sworn in, is not saving people money in gas. And the other thing the media did this week, so I'll get back to my glasses story. Anyway, when I snapped the twig to unplug my mower, demower I should say, the reading glasses went flying into the weeds somewhere. So I couldn't find them because I needed my reading glasses to find them. So I had to go back into the house, get some glasses. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to use a magneto. We got this magnetized stick made, and we use that for picking up steel casings at the range. Magnetized stick is really good for that, so you don't have to get on all fours picking up your shell casings. And I'm looking around, I can't find anything with it. So finally found them. I found them after stepping on them and bending the glasses. Of course you're going to step on the glasses, right? Even though I was being careful not to step on the glasses, I stepped on the glasses. I didn't break them, thankfully. They're one of my favorite pair. So I just bent them back to how they're supposed to be, and they look like they're good to go. Now this is the second time. Thank you. That's the second time I lose these and step on them and bend them. So they haven't broken, thankfully, because when you get used to a pair of reading glasses, you don't want to see them go. And I get different reading glasses for different purposes. One for reading detail up close, looking up at detail when you're working on something. Those aren't the ones I stepped on. And then there's the ones I wear to show everything between 4 and 6 feet. That's what I had. So anyway, finally found those. And the reason why I brought up the magnetic stick is that out of all the reading glasses I have of that style, this was the only pair that didn't have a magnetic frame, which is why I ended up stepping on them, because the magneto didn't find them for me in the weeds. So ain't that funny how life goes sometimes? So there you have it, there it is. That's how things go. Anyway, the media has been doing this blitz on one. They've been trying to say that the jobless numbers are good, even though they're getting stagnant and going backwards, which isn't good for Biden. And number two, inflation did drop a little bit, but it's still high. So they can try to brag about this if they want to, but people's prices on the shelves aren't going down. Somebody posted a receipt on the internet for Five Guys burgers, and there was 2 cheeseburgers, 2 kids burgers, a shake, some fries, onion rings, a couple other things, and it was $72. Like, holy smokes. So anyways, people are getting very frustrated, rightfully, and that's not stopping the media from trying to tell people that that's not really what you're seeing and you should ignore it. But that's what they're trying to do. So anyways, they've been running articles about gas prices are falling. Why are they falling? And then you read it, and they're trying in a roundabout way to provide information about Biden's administration making the right moves, which is bunk. It's BS. I have never seen a media this biased openly, unashamedly, in my lifetime. It is truly unbelievable how bad they are. The other part of the media cycle today, for the weekend, on Father's Day weekend, was how Trump mispronounced former White House Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who is now elected to office. He mispronounced his last name and said Johnson. So now they're trying to deflect away from Biden's dementia by saying Trump is suffering from dementia. And it's almost comical because it's night and day, it's ridiculous, but that's what they're trying to do. So they're also doing that with, they said 4 of the CEOs at this meeting with Trump said he was meandering around, incoherent, not making sense, and that's BS. All of these things, this video online, they're just 4 Biden supporting CEOs that don't like Trump, and Trump met with them anyway. So this is the thanks he gets for it. It's pretty terrible what these people are doing. So the good news, Trump met in Detroit with black leaders. No presidential candidate has ever gone there before to meet with black leaders, even Democrat ones, even presidents elected to office that were Democrat. So Trump went there and talked with them. They had a roundtable discussion. Trump had a serious talk about black people and how Democrats are not helping them with their policies. He wants people to prosper, make money, and have good jobs, not fast food jobs, or service jobs, or jobs catering on white people. And he was just honest with them. And after he left there, a staunch Democrat, former mayor of Detroit, a Democrat, one of the people responsible for Detroit running downhill, acknowledged that mistakes were made back then, and he's going to support Trump. He hasn't supported Trump before, but he's seen enough to know that, and this is his quote, he says, Biden is not good for black people, and I believe Trump is sincere and wants to do things good for the black community in Detroit. Holy smokes. That's a big deal. This guy's a good-looking younger guy too, you know, and he's speaking on behalf of Trump. I'm telling you, there's some things going on, man. Things are happening, and we're all going to be a part of something really big. Now the other thing is Trump keeps talking about the election this year has to be too big to rig. And some polling was done in Georgia. Stunning, stark polling. Probably how the voting really went. Probably how it really went in November of 2020. The poll was very simple. It asked voters in all parties, who did you vote for in 2020? Pretty simple question, right? Now, since they had to do recounts and it came out pretty close, and Trump lost by, I think, less than 20,000 in Georgia, 11,000 something. They cheated, okay? It's the place where infamously the pipes broke. They had to stop counting. And now information is coming out in Milwaukee where one of the Democrats responsible for the election called off the voting, and they printed 64,000 ballots. Now, this is yet to be verified, so don't take it as solid gold, but an informant that worked in that office said that's what they did. Trump lost Wisconsin by around 20,000 votes or less, and they printed up 64,000, and they were all straight ticket just for Biden. All of the votes that were counted, okay, from these ballots that turned up miraculously, every single one of them, now I'm not exaggerating, every single one of them was for Biden. The mathematical odds of that happening are astronomical. Like, as in, there's no way it can happen. So they definitely cheated in Wisconsin, okay? And they'll do it again. But Wisconsin did pass some kind of laws, and actually they lost lawsuits, that's what it was, where people are going to be able to watch the polls now and you can't keep them out. The other thing that happened for Georgia, and this was signed by the governor after being passed by the Republican legislature, that the election results for mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, have to be released on the night of the election. There's no closing down until the next day and all that stuff. And people are going to be able to watch. And many of the illegal ballot drop boxes have been removed. So they still have some official ones, like Maine does, which is fine. When things are done properly, it's actually good. But that's not what they do in Georgia. So Stacey Abrams argued that decision and she lost. So that's what's going to happen this election. They're not going to have a pandemic to hide behind with mail-in voting, with activist Secretary of States. At least we don't think so, unless they cook something up. But right now, Biden, after G7, is doing terrible. He was awful. And Democrats are talking about removing him. Now, Steve Forbes, former presidential person who ran for office, former independent, very wealthy, knows what's going on. He says, in a video I watched of him earlier on YouTube, on the official Forbes official channel, he honestly believes Biden is not going to be the candidate for Democrats. Trump has said the same thing. He goes, I don't think Biden's going to be the candidate. I don't think he's going to make it. And I think they're right. A lot of Democrats, including voters, are calling for somebody else besides Biden. Now, how can they do that? Well, what they would have to do, and this is very serious, we have had similar things happen before in the past, so don't look at it like this is the first time. You know, we had a president had a stroke in office and died. We've had, you know, assassinations. We've had things where what they would do is the vice president would be sworn in as president. Should be Kamala Harris. Now, the DNC is not going to want Kamala Harris as a presidential candidate. They're just not. The Democratic Party is not going to allow that. So what they would do is they would swear her in as president. And she would be the president. But it's towards the end of their term. It's towards the end of their 4-year term. So it would be temporary. Democratic Party is not going to put her on a ticket to be re-elected as president because she's unelectable. Everybody knows that. Nobody likes her. Black people don't like her. Women don't like her. Democrats don't like her. Republicans laugh at her. And so they're going to be stuck in a quandary. What are they going to do? They're going to have to pick somebody to run in Biden's spot and remove Kamala from the ticket entirely when it runs out, which they have the authority to do that. That's up to the party. Just like the judge in New York who's going to sentence Trump is hoping that he's going to sentence him to house arrest or something like that 3 or 4 days before the Republican convention. Many people think he's not going to do that. The experts think, well, nobody's ever been there. Yeah, well, there's never been a Trump. They don't want him on a ticket. They don't want him to win. He's leading in the polls. Biden's terrible. Yes, they're going to sentence him to house arrest. If it weren't for the fact that he was president before, with the Presidential Protection Act, they would send him to Rikers Island. They would give him 4 years. You know they would. But they can't do that because Secret Service says you can't do that. That hasn't been made public, but it is definitely in the Presidential Protection Act of 2013, which Biden's Obama signed into law. And that's what they're going to do. I honestly believe that. I think they're going to sentence him to house arrest at Mar-a-Lago, thinking that it's going to end his candidacy because the RNC is going to be forced to pull him as a candidate, because how can you run for president from under house arrest? Well, they don't seem to understand technology, for one thing. They would have to strip him of his social media, his phone, video. They would have to restrict what he could do under house arrest. But typically, they won't do that for people under house arrest. For more serious crimes, they still go on the internet, and they still go online and do things. So there's no reason why they would still have a gag order on him. He couldn't talk about the judge, the trial, or anything, but he could still appeal. And if they sentence him to house arrest, I'm almost certain the Supreme Court's going to intervene on behalf of the people, because it's an election year. And people need to understand that that judge in New York, now the propaganda tries to say that he wasn't chosen, but he's not an official judge in rotation in New York. So he was not chosen. I mean, he was not at random. He was chosen. He is kind of like a fill-in, a substitute, a willing soldier for the Democrats is what he is. He pretty much nodded his head and said, I'll take this one and I'll make stuff happen. Don't worry about it. Because there isn't going to be any repercussions for him. He doesn't have a reputation to damage. he's going to sacrifice that for the team. That's been made known already, so I'm just telling you what they're doing. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. So anyway, that's what they're going to do with that. And I think you can pretty much take that to the bank. He's going to sentence him to house arrest 4 days before the Republican convention in Milwaukee, just because they think that's going to end his campaign. And the RNC has until, I believe, the end of June to finally finalize who their candidate's going to be. So I think they're doing a Hail Mary. They're going to sentence Trump to house arrest until after the election, until after his appeal. It's going to take a while for the appeal. We might not see an appeal for a year or two. So they know what they're doing. This is all about stopping him to begin with. So why wouldn't they sentence him to house arrest? So I'm pretty much expecting that's what they're going to do. And it's going to be a big problem for Democrats, because it's going to make them look really bad. Because not one of them is going to stick their neck out and say, we shouldn't be doing this in an election year. We've already had a New York Democrat do that, saying that Governor Hochul should pardon Trump because it's an election and this isn't right. And I haven't heard anything from him since. So I'm sure he has gotten the message. Shut the hell up about that. So I don't know what they're going to do, but this is not going to be good for the country. It's not going to be good for the Democrats. It's not. It's not going to help them. It's going to help Trump. If they do that, he's going to get more black vote than he was getting already. Which is why Trump is spending his time talking in the black community while he can. That's why he went to Detroit. And they need to solidify the minority vote. Asians love Trump. They love him because they recognize what communism is, and they don't like the Democrats. There's a lot of Asian Americans here that don't vote. That's also a really astonishing fact, and I hope they decide to vote for Trump. The other thing, the NRA says many people that own firearms don't even vote at all, Democrat, Republican, or anything. They just don't bother with it. They kind of have a libertarian thing, and they're kind of like, well, what's the point? My vote doesn't matter anymore anyway, so I'm not going to vote. Those people need to vote. So if any of you are watching this, you need to vote, man. You need to vote. This is a big deal this year. So anyway, that's what I'm laying out there for you, from what I understand and what I know. Anybody that thinks the Democrats aren't going to cheat like they did in 2020, they are. They'll probably even try harder at it. But the good news is that's going to make them able to get caught easier, because they're going to have to be more bold. And I say that because a lot of people are onto their tricks and shenanigans, and they're going to have to come out with something new. What would that be? Well, a big new national emergency would be terrible for the country, basically. But see, their thinking is if they had some kind of national emergency, they're going to rally around whoever's in office for a sense of security. And yeah, well, that's the old days. That ain't going to happen anymore. People are going to blame Biden. So, you know, if some terrorist comes over the border, or came over already, and some kind of sleeper cell activates, and we get a mass shooting at some kind of mall event, 100 people at a concert are killed, like we saw in Moscow, It's all over for Biden. It's all over because people are going to blame him because they know the border's been open. So that's it. So if something like that does happen, Biden's literally done. And so are the Democrats, no matter who they substitute in for the election. Now, what people were talking about is there's 3 Democrat governors who are actually pretty decent Democrats. They're not Looney Tunes. So they need to compete against Trump. I think they're going to bring in 3 relatively unknown, one of 3, if they have to, if Biden truly is done. It's not going to be Gavin Newsom in California. He's finished because people are not going to vote for somebody far left Looney Tune like that. At least you would hope not, but you know, he went into office, he had a $22 billion surplus. Well, guess what? They have a $55 billion deficit. California, who has a GDP bigger than many countries, is $55 billion in debt. In a state where people are already taxed as one of the highest taxed amount in the country. So what the hell are you going to do with that? You know, Gavin Newsom's name is crap. These idiots in California are still going to vote for him because they're stupid. But, you know, middle America and all these people, these young people starving, they're not going to vote for him. Yeah, sure, he's good looking, he got nice teeth, he's healthy, he's younger, he's fit, he looks good, blah, blah, blah. But people are getting wiser to that. And there's only one person running that people could live and actually have money and be prosperous. I even, you know, which is Trump, of course, but I saw a Democrat woman video today from last year, 2023, okay? No, it's actually this year, just before taxes. She is angry, she's upset. She goes, last year I didn't owe these taxes. I didn't owe taxes last year, she said. This year I owe whatever $1,000. She said, that's because of Trump. And of course, everybody corrected her. She seems to forget that 2023 taxes, Biden changed the tax code for this year. So, a lot of people didn't expect it, but they're owing more money, despite the IRS sending out notices saying that you should adjust what you're taking out of your taxes this year, because the tax code has changed because Biden needs more money. So people corrected her and haven't seen anything from her since. But you know, anything that goes wrong, they try to blame Trump in the media and on TV, and so that's what people do. And they need to realize that this is their vote. This isn't the first year for Biden, okay? It's his 4th year. And the country is destroyed. It's a mess. It could not be governed worse. The only way it could be governed worse is to actually have World War III and a nuclear holocaust. That's the only way things can get worse than they are now. So a lot of the Republicans on DC met with Trump behind closed doors, and they're getting on the same page. McConnell was there. Other Republicans that don't like Trump was there, and Trump spoke to them, and they all left with smiles on their faces. Trump is very serious. He said, you know, we have to unite, because if we don't, we're not going to win. We need to be ready for winning this fall. Not have the mindset of, if we win, we need to win. That's it. People need to go out and start endorsing each other, saying positive things, instead of all this infighting we always see with Republicans. It's stupid. it's good that people don't have a hive mentality, you know, and they want to be independent of each other and argue about things and work things, but the Democrats don't do that. You know, you tell them do this, they'll all do that. Republicans need to start trusting each other and getting on the same damn page. In the Senate, that's the big one. The Senate is the big one. This is expected to be one of the best years for Republicans in the Senate as far as winning the Senate. Could possibly end up with 2 or 3 seats advantage, which would be huge. The biggest thing would be, even with McConnell, who's a friggin' uniparty rhino moron that I wish would go away, he's still better than Schumer. All of this Democrat BS is going to stop dead in its tracks at the very least. So I think the Republicans are learning how to win. And the reason why I say that is a lot of the Republicans, when that thing with the abortion broke out, they didn't know how to talk about it. They didn't know how to respond to voters. And the Democrats took advantage of it. But I think they've figured it out. So this is going to be interesting. Democrats are well organized, well financed, well oiled machine. They got all the talking points. They got people they've hired, focus groups, and the Republicans just kind of like bumble along like we always have, you know. Well, the government's this and that, and it's not up to us to be like that. Well, with technology, that's just how things are now. And Trump's getting close to his vice presidential pick, and I've been kind of like getting into it online with people about it, other Republicans, because they are so rabid online right now that if you say something like, this is actually what I said, is Dr. Ben Carson, brilliant, really intelligent person, soft-spoken, everything he says is intelligent. He'd come up with some stupid argument, he'll have an answer for it. That's what we need. And he's run for president a few times in the primary as a Republican against other Republicans. Never gets anywhere. But he's very smart. He's a brain surgeon. And he's also black. So all I said, and this is all I said, because it's common sense when you're coming up with a campaign strategy, this year more than any, as I said, Dr. Ben Carson should be Trump's running mate. He should pick him. And I think there's a chance he might, because he's black and he's smart and he's articulate and he'll win debates and he'll answer questions with the media and make them stand there looking stupid like they are. And I said Trump needs a minority for vice president. A bonus if she's a female and a minority. Oh, well, you can't think like Democrats. You can't do that. So that's the talking points that they were doing. So that's the talking points that they were using. Trying to say that, you know, I'm not really a Republican, I'm thinking like a Democrat or an independent, or we can't have any DEI hires, they said. I'm like, wait. I said, this makes common sense because you have to be real or realistic. Trump isn't doing well with females, and he's not doing well with minorities. Whether it's his fault, not his fault, the media or whoever, the media has poisoned a lot of minds. So he needs to have a minority vice presidential pick. There's plenty of brilliant Republicans to choose from. Right?
Hello.
So I mentioned that, and people seem to have a fit over that. Had no idea I would stir up that big a controversy with that. They're so used to arguing black and white with liberals that they can't just open their brain up and say, what's the best thing for the campaign where Trump has to win this year? What's the number one thing said by Democrats about Republicans? They're white supremacists. They're all bigots. They're all racist. If Trump picks another friggin' white Republican, it's all over. He's not going to win. It's just going to be more establishment, another white guy. He'll probably lose some of the black votes that he just got. And of course, we had the, we had the whole pussy grabbing incident with that secret recording. He's never really recovered from that. Paying off porn stars. Okay, he did that. There's no denying that. So there's a lot of women who just won't vote for him because of that. He's an affront to women. That's just a fact, okay? That's the way it is. He got busted for that. He did that. He apologized. But that's still there. So if he had a person of color that was a female that ran as vice president, that would go a long way, because she's going to give a female point of view of why she took that job, and it's going to make a lot more sense than some propagandist on CNN trying to trash mouth Trump. So these things are important. They're looking at it like I said he should have a black guy because he should just have a black guy because Democrats do that, and they did that with Kamala. No, I'm not saying just any freaking person. Ben Carson is brilliant. He's qualified, okay? That's the key word. Qualified. Out of the people in the Republican Party of color, he is qualified to be president. And there's a difference. I didn't say just anybody that was black, and that's the way they were acting. So there's a lot of fighting Republicans online like to do with each other. If you do anything that resembles what a Democrat would do, or open thinking or open-mindedness, they chastise you for it, which is why I don't really talk with them that much. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. And that governor in South Dakota there who murdered a puppy, she's done. There's no way Trump's going to pick her now. And she made up that story about Kim Jong-un meeting him at the 38th parallel. Blah. That never happened. She never did that. So she was bloviating, making up stories. We don't need somebody like that, because what else has she done that's going to come out after she's nominated, right? So can't have that. People like Sarah Palin are done too. So they're worn out. And so I think it's time for a black or Hispanic running mate. Hispanic would be good too. You know, DeSantis would be good, but he's the governor of Florida, and if I was the RNC, I'd say, no, don't do that now. We're going to need you in 2028, because he'll be available then. You know, his governorship in Florida, I think, will be over in 2028. I don't know what their term limits are. He already got reelected once. I don't think he can serve 3 terms. So I think it was a complete waste that he ran against Trump. Somebody talked him into it, and it just was not a good move. So anyways, I don't know how much you guys spend time thinking about this stuff, but this is like really important this year more than most, because this is the year that could literally destroy us as a country. You know, the dollar could lose its dominance. It's on the verge of that now. As soon as you have Chinese and other currency controlling the oil markets, it's all over. The energy sector pretty much is the life's blood of the country. And that's why we're suffering right now, because this crazy climate Biden bullshit is destroying us. Now, the other news cycle they're running, they're gaslighting about violent crime dramatically dropping. That's just factually not true. The media is trying their best to prop up Biden with lies and bullshit. This is what happened. The FBI does not have those numbers for Los Angeles and New York City. So these numbers they're talking about for violent crime dropping is because now they don't include New York City and Los Angeles. Now, why don't they include those? Because the Democratic Party has convinced Los Angeles and New York City to kind of like gum up the works and sabotage themselves so they can't have those stats. They cheated, okay? That's what they did. So Los Angeles is what, 12 million people? 18 million? Whatever. New York City has how many million? Well, there's your numbers. Of course, if you take the two most violent cities out besides Chicago, the numbers are going to go down, aren't they? So the media is trying to get away with that, and they're being called out for it, thankfully. But this is what they're doing. They're very desperate. Well, they're running out of time, okay? It's already the end of June coming up. What, 4.5 months, 5 months? 4 months. Friggin' elections in 4 months, for crying out loud. 4.5 months from now. They're getting desperate. So they're making up, literally making up stats. You know, and the media is just, well, we're just reporting what we were told. Instead of investigating if what they were told is true, they're not bothering with that, okay? They're just, okay, this is what they told us, we'll report it. It's cheating! So Trump being a convicted felon was supposed to end Trump, and it's not. So they're going to try to jail him with house arrest. He's not going to jail. He's not going to be perp walked. He's not going to be handcuffed. When he got arrested for these bogus charges, they didn't handcuff him because the Secret Service said you can't do that. It's a national security thing. It's just not going to happen. Sorry, but no thanks. So that's still the same. And so it's house arrest. That's what's going to happen. Now, is it going to be house arrest? It has to be in a secure location that the Secret Service is satisfied with. They're going to try to say this certain part of this prison will be solitary. It'll be safe and secure. But the Secret Service is going to say no. We need to have control in the event of national invasion, nuclear war, whatever it is, okay? And these Democrats don't seem to understand that. He has knowledge about our country that is top secret classified, that has to do with things like space technology and things that other countries would love to know. And he was the president, and he had access to all of that. So that's why I find it very comical that they're upset about a few documents that he had in Florida, when he probably has more information in his head than the important stuff in that. So this is all for show. It's a scam. We know that. We're just gonna have to wait this out with everybody else, see what happens. But it definitely does look like he's going to be under house arrest. Now Trump, I mean, he's not going to be a flight risk. You know, people were trying to say, well, if the judge thinks he's a flight risk, he could order house arrest. Which is true. It's usually what they'll do. But, you know, yeah, he's got a jet plane. He could just get in it and leave the country. You know, but he's running for office. It's not going to happen, okay? It's just not going to happen. But he had his parole hearing, and at that hearing, they have to explain what his intentions are, his income, this and that. You know, it's bullshit. But now, as a convicted felon, he's going to have to ask for permission to go visit his golf courses or to leave the country to do something, which I'm sure he'll get. So they just wanted to be able to say convicted felon in every other sentence in the media and the paper, and it's not working. It's not working for them. It's not. So between now and the election, whatever support he has lost with independents is going to come back, because they're going to hear about what's going on, and you know, they'll figure it out. We still got time. And he might just end up replacing whatever he lost in independence with black votes. He might actually get more votes than he would have got otherwise. So this might all be a blessing, all right? So very interesting what's going on. I've never experienced anything like this in my lifetime. Neither has anybody else. It's a part of history. You know, we're part of something historic. They will still be talking about this 200 years from now, okay? One way or the other. Good, bad, or indifferent. This is a very serious thing in our history, and it's like, what a time to be alive, really. Get to experience it. Even if everything comes apart and the country gets destroyed, we'll be a part of that history. So kind of crazy to think about that, but that's where we are. And it's really a damn shame things had to go the way they did in 2020, because I was talking about that election. I didn't finish my story. I got sidetracked. I apologize. About Georgia. They asked the voters in Georgia who you voted for in 2020. They asked Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. Republicans, well, Democrats, the Joe Biden ticket, they said that Joe Biden got 37% from who they polled on who voted in 2020. Joe Biden had 37%, Trump had 46%, and 8% were undecided, or something like that. Whatever comes out to 100%. But Biden was in the 30s, Trump was in the 40s, and clearly won that election. And the rest was made up with those mail-in ballots because of the pandemic. Because the Secretary of State in Georgia is an anti-Trumper, hates Trump. Raffensperger. He cheated. Just like we saw Shanna Bellows in Maine cheat. Okay? We saw Shanna Bellows cheat trying to keep Trump off the ballot. Yeah, these people lost something out of their car. Need any help? I think they lost something while they were driving by. Don't know what they're looking for. I offered to help. Says she found it and it's not broken. I have no idea what they lost. Anyway, we are going to see some stuff going down this year. And the reason why they say that this election needs to be too big to rig is they're going to cheat again. Not so worried about it here in Maine because we use paper ballots. I'm confident the vote will be what it is, which is why she tried to keep him off the ballot, because she knows that. Otherwise, they would have just let him be on it and they would have just cheated, right? So Maine uses paper ballots, and don't know what's going to happen on election night as far as who is officially going to be on the ballot for independents. I know Shenna Bellows has rigged it where RFK Jr., he still has his lawsuit going on about that. That needs to be settled. She wants RFK Jr. off the ballot because he's going to siphon off Biden votes. So they're doing what they did to Trump to him under a technicality. She found a legal loophole, changed the rule on something, and then he missed the deadline to submit his signatures to be on the ballot. They cheated, okay? So RFK Jr. filed a lawsuit, which he should win. I would assume he will, because they did cheat unfairly. And they're messing with elections, you know, that's like sacrilege. You can't do that. And I think they're getting backlash for it from people because, you know, it's just not cool. I think a lot of people are going to vote for Trump just because of that. These people are bad, okay? They're really bad people. They're evil. They're just not good people. They're not American. They're not democratic. They're Marxist. They are friggin' Marxist. Socialist. Marxists are even worse than socialists. And we've seen how they behave when they have power and authority. Their authoritarianism is terrible. Saw what they did during the pandemic. Terrible what they did. So anyways, To hell with it all, right? To hell with it all. Get back to the house. I'll take another shower. My second one today. I like to be squeaky clean. What a crazy messed up time, man. Whew. Ooh, Lord. Seriously, man. Really didn't think Trump was going to be found guilty, because he's not. That will be overturned, but, you know, here we are right now. We're stuck with it. Dirty, cheating bastards, man. So the other thing is, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, you know, the Republicans filed that contempt charge against him because he refused a subpoena to turn over the video and audio recordings from her, who did that special counsel interview with Biden about his classified documents, who said that Biden was a feeble old man, couldn't prosecute him. So the Republicans they don't want transcripts that the DOJ turned over, because the DOJ has already shown that they alter Biden's transcripts to cover up his senility and his dementia. They do that with the official White House documents. You know, Biden will give a speech, you watch it, he's stuttering all over the place, you go read the same speech online and everything's fixed. It's not what he said. Granted, they might literally not know what the hell Biden said, but you can't just make stuff up. You should put something in there that says unintelligible. It's usually what you do in a transcript. So they cheat, and the Republicans wanted the recordings so they could actually see or hear for themselves. Good, bad, or indifferent. If they got nothing to hide, then there's no reason to hide it, and they won't turn them over. It's a matter of the people in the country want to know if Biden is dementia, if he's competent to be president. Merrick Garland should just turn them over, but he won't. So obviously they're bad. Now, the Republicans voted to hold him in contempt, but realistically, he's under the administrative branch, and you can't really do that. That would end up in court, and then it would end up to an appeals court, then it would end up to a Supreme Court. We're never going to know anything before the election anyway. So there's really no point into even trying to prosecute him. The DOJ has announced that there was nothing to be prosecuted for. And I hate to agree with them, but they're right. It's, you have to be realistic with this stuff. It's an administrative appointee under Biden in this administration, and he has the authority to do that. You have to file a Freedom of Information Act. Could take a good year for that to process. They could delay that even longer. Eventually we will get those recordings if they haven't been destroyed. And they can't destroy them because then that's a crime. So they're just not turning them over. So that's the game we have to play. It's all legal BS. We'll just have to deal with it. We just gotta win. We have to win. That's it. Have to. So that's all I got, I guess. It's been interesting. I guess the other thing Trump has been doing is trying to get Marjorie Taylor Greene to freaking cool her jets about Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, because he's going to be the Speaker for a while. If Trump gets elected, whether the Republicans still have the House or they lose the House, Mike Johnson is still going to be the Speaker for the Republicans. Everybody needs to get along. We need to have some unity. Voters are voicing their frustration that Republicans are always fighting with each other. We're trying to win. We need to unify and win. Fight about stuff later. Get your shit together, excuse my French, and win the damn election this year. Win the House, win the Senate, win the White House. Run the damn table on these sons of bitches. Then we can get stuff done. Trump in the White House with Schumer in charge of the Senate. It's going to be pointless, useless. Any little thing Trump tries to do with an executive order, there's going to be lawsuits. And you know that. So Trump gets elected, there's going to be riots across the country orchestrated by the Marxists, like we saw for Black Lives Matter. Trump isn't going to deal with it this time. He's probably going to legally declare what he needs to declare as an emergency, use the National Guard, deploy the military, take care of business, which is what he should have done the last time. But he was new. He had the Mueller investigation, Russia collusion, impeachments. This time he knows that what he's going to do, and that stuff is not going to work this time. So he needs to get back in there. And he said he's not going to go on a vengeance tour. He said his revenge will be success. America will be doing great again. That will be his revenge, and that's the proper way to do it. But he needs the tools to do it. People need to vote. Get off your cans and vote. You gotta vote. If you know somebody that hasn't voted, talk them into it. It's gotta be done. I did that for the last election. You know, I got 3 people to vote that hadn't voted before last year. So hopefully they'll vote again. I know one of my brothers will. He's just somebody that was never interested in it, and who could blame him? These people are all pathetically horrible in office. I get it. But Democrats have their crap together. And when they win, you lose gun rights. You lose all kinds of stuff. You end up with trans flags in your schools, and if you say anything about it, DHS comes and they take your friggin' kid. Child Protective Services says that you're being a bad parent because you won't let your child transition. That's what you get when you don't vote. So now, the other thing I'm happy about, actually, is the school district here in Lewiston doesn't know what to do. They're not going to have enough money. But they had a referendum vote. I voted, okay? I voted against it. Right?
Happy Father's Day.
Same to you. Thank you. So, I voted against it. And what happened with that is, if this would have passed, it would have given the school district more money. Quite a few million more money than they had, okay? Now here's the thing. It was stated, and factually accurate, that if that did pass, people's property taxes in Lewiston would have gone up 13%. Okay, so that would have been approximately another $300 a year on our property tax. Because Janet Mills We had a temporary moratorium on raising property taxes instilled in 2008. Janet Mills just got rid of that. She just signed to be able to raise property taxes again. So the Democrats are always itching around for more money to spend on their social bullshit. So the Lewiston School District needs money. The city of Lewiston is spending too much money on immigrants and stuff like that. Immigration, housing, this, that, and the other thing. There's state money involved in that. There's local money involved in that. You have to put these people up somewhere. The city of Portland ran into debt. They couldn't pay for the Sea Dogs Clubhouse. So, you know, the Democrats in Maine passed a bill basically where taxpayers' dollars, you, me, and everybody else, is now going to pay for it because the city of Portland spent all their money on immigrants. They came up short. So, you know, this is the kind of thing that happens with Democrats. So what happened was, is this did not pass. Voters said, this is enough, enough, enough. We're already in a state where high taxes. This is foolish. Stop this. So now the city school department doesn't know what to do because they're going to have a budget shortfall. So I just have been saying on the internet, then fix your crap. Do like everybody else when Bidenomics, you know? You buy less and pay more. Don't know what to tell you. Let some teachers go. Lay some of these friggin' liberal idiots off so they don't have a job, so they understand that their bullshit cost them their employment. You know? Don't know what to tell you. People don't want their property tax to go up. You know? Find a way to fix it. So anyway, that's what happened with that. So I'm glad that didn't pass. This was the second time around that they tried it too. So people are figuring this out. They realize that this is really dumb, stupid policies. And so that's where we are right now, I guess. Whew, having a good walk tonight. We're gonna have some good walks this week. It's gonna be at night. Especially like Thursday, it's gonna be 98 degrees during the day, they're saying. I don't know if it's actually gonna be that, or if they're just hyping for advertising on the website. Hard to tell these days. But we will check that out. And those will definitely be walking at nights for sure. And I'll probably have a backpack with some sparkling water in it to drink. Stay hydrated. I'll probably be sweating a lot. But anyway, that'll be fun. Summer is here. You know, I did enjoy mowing the lawn today. There's a certain satisfaction and enjoyment I get out of it. Mainly being out in the sun, fresh air. Today was beautiful. 70, 71 degrees. Humidity was very low, like non-existent. Canadian air, which obviously is going to go away very soon. And so there's that. Whew. Where's my miles? Why is my woman in my pocket not talking to me? See? It says 4.37 miles. I don't think that's accurate. I'm gonna gonna have to fire her. I gotta fire my pocket walking lady. It's whatever GPS says, that's what my miles are. So GPS can be a little wonky with the phone cell service because it's not based in Maine, for one thing. I think it's based in Texas, my cell company, internet service, I mean. I think it relays through New York. See, that's a train going by. I wish they would have gone by the other day when we were walking on the tracks. It's going by now. I can hear it. So anyways, in case this stops recording, I'm going to say thank you very much for walking with me. Hope you enjoyed it. I do enjoy the night walks. Click like and subscribe. Share the pertinent content for whatever it is you like or don't like. And I'm just going to walk and babble until it stops recording. I've officially said goodbye now. So now it can do what it wants to. Oop, I hear a dog barking. Woof woof. Hate walking on uneven sidewalks when it's dark. It always feels like you're stepping in a hole and you don't see it. I'll get back and have a nice coffee. Yeah. Now we're gonna have another 75-degree day tomorrow, Monday. But then Tuesday it's gonna be 90. Be warm Tuesday. Humidity is going to come in. Then it's going to be 94 Wednesday. And it's going to be 98 to 100 Thursday. Then we're going to have thunderstorms after that, and I'm sure they're going to be whoppers. It's going to be a very strong front. So that's what you get from Beau the weatherman. Live from Lewiston, Maine. And when it's warm like that, that'll even be nice to walk in if it's raining. Because when it's hot and humid, it's nice walking in the rain. It just is. Hear the train? Choo choo! All right, coming up on 5 miles. There's a cell phone place and also the marijuana recreational cannabis outlet, locally owned. 10% off for veterans. Well, that ain't bad. Senior discount too. Can't beat that with a stick. Won't be long, I'll be able to get the senior discount. How about that? Pizza Hut. That'd be good right now. Completely erase all the calories I just walked off. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Stay cool and hydrate. It's going to be a hot one for most of the country. Ciao.